Happy New Year's from the first after church session of 2022. I'm here with my favorite brothers to talk to about life issues. Pastor John Adams, senior pastor of New Covenant Full Gospel Church. I got my brother Adam Ford, Pastor Adam Ford. I also have my brother Minister Sidney Thurman, and we're going to talk today about a special topic that we should know best. It's talking about men's health. And I just want everybody, this is a new year for us, the first session of the year. So I want everybody to just go around, just let me know how you guys doing.
Well, I start off good. Doing pretty good.
Praise God, Minister Sidney Thurman. We appreciate you. Pastor John, how we doing, man? How we doing?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. As you see the new svelte figure. Trying to get my girlish figure back.
That's why he's wearing short sleeves. I was trying to figure that out. I said, why he got short sleeves on?
So, I go let the a little bit this morning.
Bring them out.
Yeah, doing pretty good this morning, man. This afternoon, rather. Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
What's going on, Adam?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. I had a little bout with the snow this morning. Y'all know I'm an East Coast boy, so you
lost.
I'm at a handicap. I did try to get out on the road. I did, but I started sliding. I was like, oh no, not the kid. I'm going back home.
When it sprinkles, when it's like angel dust or snow, this dude.
Yeah, Adam left his car 2 blocks from the house and got out and walked back.
Dude, I was so close. You don't even understand, man. I started sliding around. I was like, oh no, not today, Satan, not today.
Adam got out the car and just started walking back home.
That's right. That's good. That's better than what I was going to do. I was going to take an Uber back.
Oh my God. Brutal honesty. Hey guys, it's fun and laughter is actually one of the things we're going to talk about today too, in terms of men's health. And I think that it's so important that that we talk about this topic, because I think a lot of times it's assumed, and we don't really give clear direction or even seek clear direction in terms of making sure that we're on par health-wise. Not to even mention that a lot of men don't even go to the doctors regularly to check on their health. I think if I'm feeling okay, I'm okay. When you can been feeling okay one moment and then a lot of issues the next. Me personally, I've seen a lot of death lately in my extended family, and I've seen some marriages, seen some babies born. So it's God is still good. God is still good. Want to jump into this topic, guys. This is playoff football Sunday, the divisional rounds. So ain't nobody trying to go over today. I know
that's right.
Dude with the Tom Brady man crush. We ain't gonna mention no names, but that guy. But anyway,
wow.
And they're not looking so Tom good Brady now. What'd you say, Vincent?
They're not looking so good now, so he may want it to go over today.
So take your time, preacher. Take your time.
So let's touch it. We don't have to start in any particular order, guys, but I just wanted to reiterate what we're going to be talking about today, which I think is, like I said, is so important that we do address these issues. Men's health in terms of from a fitness perspective, food, fun, faith, and finance. So that's fitness, fun, food, faith, and finance, and not necessarily in that order, but just to keep us, on topic. But let's throw it out there. We know that fitness and food has to have a marriage. Let's start talking about that. How often should we exercise, guys?
Well, if I could begin the conversation and then everybody else can jump off from there. I don't know if there's a definitive amount of time that we should. I know that some people say 45 minutes a day, an hour a day, which would imply every day of the week. That would be 7 days a week, and 45 minutes to an hour a day. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to set a standard, an impossible standard for people, and dissuade them from just getting started.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you can't do, 7 days a week, can you start with 2?
Yeah.
Can you start with 3 days a week, every other day or something like that? Maybe even going for a walk or beginning some cardio and some weightlifting and things like that. But I do know that generally speaking, every day is supposed to be something getting done, some 45 minutes to an hour of activity that gets your heart rate up.
Yeah, that's key. Like I think we were saying in the post-production meetings, Pastor John was talking about making goals that are achievable, little baby small steps, things that are easily achievable in terms of you being able to be committed to a physical workout on a regular basis. My word is also something that's sustainable, something that you can maintain, something that you can manage, that's within your realm of manageability. Being able to, look, you're not going to be able to do, 2 or 3 hours out of the day when you're just starting out. No. That's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to do that. But do something that actually is achievable on your level. Don't try to do what everybody else does. Do what you can do. I've actually gotten to the point now, I've never been a fan of going to the gym to work out. I only do it if I absolutely have to. But a lot of times I'm in the basement. Me too. And that's where my workout takes place. Now I'm up to about 2 hours on a regular basis in terms of working out regularly, and that works for me. And I customize each and every one of my own workout plans. It's something that I can do for myself on a regular basis. And, I don't, again, you don't want to set the bar so high that you can't achieve it, because then you're going to find yourself disappointed, frustrated, and then you're going to quit. Do something that allows you to have those moments, those milestones of achievement, so that way you're encouraged along the way to go a little further.
Absolutely.
Like that. In agreement. We all going to find our own niche too, right? There's going to be some that's going to be quote unquote gym rats. You're going to have those people that's going to go in there 2-3 hours, 7 days a week. But then you're going to find those who are going to have it in intervals. I suggest find your niche, whatever you like to do. But I do ask that there are some guidelines and goals set for. Because if there are no guidelines set forth, then that's how it's easy to skip that day and get up like today. Today was one of those brutal days. So it's easy to say, you know what, I'm not going to do nothing on the day. But if you got those goals that are set, and you know that there is a barometer that you need to meet, regardless of how long you stay there, just make sure that whatever you do, to Pastor Adams' point, which is a great point, be consistent in whatever you're doing, whether that's 30 minutes, whether that's 20 minutes, but just be consistent in that and find that barometer that you're going to meet. So you're not finding yourself digressing.
Right.
All great points. I think that for me, it's been, not only is it, following all of everything that you guys said, but also being starting. I think that's another thing that Pastor John said. We got to start. Just start. Because at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of yourself and we're overextended trying to take care of others, our dependent, people that are dependent on us, essentially their system breaks down because our system breaks down. And so I think it's so important that you start. You start that whatever that is for you. If it's walking on the treadmill, if it's doing push-ups, you start. You don't necessarily need to have so much equipment. Pastor John is not even using equipment. Pastor Adams is doing a combination of things. I use calisthenics and some equipment. But the thing is, it's starting. And I think the other crucial thing that men don't necessarily do so well is share your goals with someone else. That will hold you accountable, or at least remind you of what you said you wanted to accomplish for yourself. Last year, at the beginning of last year, before you joined, Minister Sidney, we set up a goal together, all three of us. We said, look, we're going to work out, we're going to lose some weight, and we're going to, be healthier. We're going to be healthier in 2021, and we're going to be healthier in 2022. And for the most part, we've all stuck to that. We fall off the rail a few times, but we've all stuck to that. And I think a huge part of that is when we talk to one another, we get together. Hey, how's it going? Right? How's it going? And right, exactly. And I think that is so important that, you share that goal, because I believe a goal that is not spoken is really a personal way to say, I don't have to do this because I didn't tell nobody.
First way to leave yourself, to leave yourself an out.
Absolutely.
Leave myself
so definitely share your goals. Go ahead.
Can I just add two more things to this conversation real quick?
Absolutely.
And that's something that we don't necessarily always talk about when it comes to working out. Because when we think about working out, we're either thinking about doing some heavy cardio, getting on a treadmill, we're thinking about doing weights.
Right.
But there are two other things that we don't necessarily talk about that are vitally important to your ability to commit long-term to a regular workout schedule. The first thing is taking breaks. Learning how to allow your body to regenerate after you've worked on breaking down all that muscle, because your body needs time to regenerate that muscle. If you don't take the time out to rest properly, to get your 8-9 hours of sleep, when you get up the next day to go to work out, you're gonna have some problems. I promise you, you're gonna have some serious problems. You're gonna have torn ligaments, torn biceps. You're not gonna be able to operate or perform at optimum efficiency. So brothers, take a break, get your rest in and take your break day when you need to. The other thing, the second thing that we need to do as men, as far as getting older and aging up, is learning how to incorporate a stretch routine in your working out. Because a lot of times in terms of working out, you develop this muscle, but if you're not actively stretching that muscle on a regular basis, again, you run the risk of breaking something. You run the risk of tearing a ligament, tearing some muscle inside of you that's going to take a while for it to heal. Again, stretching is going to become your best friend in terms of your regular working out. Take it from me, please stretch.
To your point, and I want to tell you something too, because I follow a couple of YouTube videos when I do my workouts. I do use a little equipment. I use dumbbells, and I just started using kettlebells, but that's it. That's it. Everything else is just body weight and cardio. But to the point of stretching, I literally just added stretching to my routine now, where twice a week, a part of my, at least a 10-minute swath of my workout is just stretching. And man, I tell you, the stretching routines that I follow are, man, I be sweating as hard on those as I do the cardio stuff that I do.
Yes, sir.
I can't, man. You're stretching this stuff, man, and pulling it and hurting it, and feel like crying, and you're still sweating just as hard as you were any other time. It's like, Ali, I thought this was gonna be easy, but it's not. It's not. But it's absolutely necessary.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
that is critical. Go ahead.
That's a very good point, Pastor Adams. He mentioned stretching is so important because we have to get it, because there's something called muscle memory. And if we go in and we're not manipulating that, our muscles, they don't be able to activate to something that's new. So it's got so prevalent now that even in the workplace, I'm talking about my place of employment, where my team, because they're doing so many things that are continuous movement, that we stretch in the morning.
Yeah,
right.
We stretch in the morning. I mean, we're doing, and you're starting to see this implemented from different places, from UPS, from FedEx, from Amazon, from different places that they're starting at. And it's a reason why they're doing that. Not just it's just the end thing to do, but there's a benefit to making sure that you're stretching. I remember being much younger than I am now, and a gentleman, we would go play basketball. And our thing was, we were 18, 19 years old. We just wanted to go in and play. But he was so big on, before we go in and play, let's stretch. Well, that didn't make sense to us at 18 and 19 years old.
Right.
But as the years pile up, you find out how important it is to stretch. It's so important.
That old fellow was giving you wisdom back then.
Back then, yes. Back then he was giving us wisdom. So now I'm able to impart that wisdom in someone else and let them know whatever you're doing before you do anything that's rigorous on your body, to make sure that you're stretching. And within that, that's the body. But there's something that you can do mentally as well too. That stretch us out. That's making sure that we're in a quiet time. That's making sure that we're reducing all kind of background noise and distraction. So you're mentally set to be able to go into your routine or whatever you're going to do. So it's great that we stretch, but also we want to stretch ourselves mentally as well.
Great point. And some people use motivational music. Some people use rap music. Some people, whatever gets you going, like to your point, getting you in that right mind state. And you really have to be focused and selfish in those moments, and it's one of those things where planning your workout is so important. And I think Pastor John said this, or one of you guys said this, and you kind of touched on it, Pastor Adam, a few minutes ago, is that plan your off days. Plan your days where you're not going to be, like you're not going to work out and you're not necessarily going to eat the best, but it's one of those things where you're going to that's a day that's planned in the schedule. So it doesn't just, run a scope creep or whatever. And it just shows up whenever, it smells good. Oh, I think that's so important. Go ahead. Somebody was going to say something.
No, we'll talk about the food part of it when we get.
Yeah, we're going to go into that. And so I think that it's critical.
I think that that notion of planning the off days, like for me, generally speaking, I have 2 off days a week. So I usually work out 4 to 5 days a week for the most part. But Thursday and Sunday are off days for me, as it relates to working out now. And so, that's just kind of worked into the process and the plan that I'm not going to work out on those days. I'm going to recover. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to, and do other things.
Right. None of us claim to be fitness experts. So what we're doing, we're telling you what we're doing, what's working for us. And we also solicit individual fitness experts in terms of YouTube or whatever references that we can. I think you should do that as well so that you can customize a workout plan for yourself. I think that's extremely critical. And then I think you said something too in the pre-production was quality of life. The workout process, it adds to your quality of life, right? In terms of, trying to protect yourself from not stressing, trying to protect yourself from injury and things of that nature. If you have more of a physical job, a lot of times people think, well, I have a physical job, so I already work out. Well, not necessarily, because there's a routine thing that your body is accustomed to, and it goes in and does that, and it doesn't necessarily stretch the right muscles or exercise the right muscles to create more of a quality of life for you or to continue a quality of life for you. So I think that's critical, that you have a custom personal workout plan away from just the job. And everybody really, I think to your point, Pastor Minister Sidney, is we need to have that quiet time and that focused time. And I think once that becomes routine, it's like you can't wait to get to it, right? You can't wait to I got to work out. And you start telling people, like, you guys know, and I've heard you guys say this before, we got to end this meeting now because my workout is starting, which to me, you're starting to put your priorities in order to be able to have that quality of life and to be a longer term contributor.
Yeah. I know that's one of my things, because like I said, we'll get to it when we get to food, but because I have to eat by a certain time before the end of the night, if there's a meeting going, okay, this meeting needs to end by such and such time, so I can go work out, take my shower, and then get me some dinner before 8:30 or whatever the cutoff time is on said particular day.
When you say that, what that tells me is like you're employing your same process of thought that you do in your workplace, in your other priorities in your life, to prioritizing your fitness and your health. Because you're saying, hey, wait a minute, I've got to calculate the cost of me trying to do this, and I've got to calculate the interruptions and what is this length of time that I'm trying to dedicate to myself. And you actually carve that out. And I think that's important. And you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, but being able to carve that particular time out, not necessarily negate your responsibility. None of us can afford to just drop everything and, hey, we're just going to work out in the middle of the day.
Well, here's the thing. Let me ask this question. If I'm down, if my body goes down, then what happens to my responsibilities?
Very good.
The reality is, even if your body's down, you still have responsibilities to carry out.
Responsibilities.
That doesn't go away because your body's
down. But now I gotta figure out how I'm going to manage them with this broken down body. And so now it does me well to try to take care of this body that I got. I've only got one. I got to take care of this body as best I can, reasonably so that I can, in fact, manage all the other things.
Absolutely.
Can I just expand upon that for a hot second? And this is something just for a hot second, just because this is something that is, I think, is, again, for aging men, this is something that is critically important. The fact that what we do today, what the 50-year-old Adam does today, the 70-year-old Adam will benefit tomorrow. And I think a lot of us don't think far enough into the future to realize that what we're doing in terms of the food that we're consuming, the habits that we have in terms of our physical workout will directly affect us 10, 20, 25, 30 years down the line. Okay.
True.
And so if I'm taking care of myself today, the 70-year-old Adam won't have as many issues in terms of his health later on down the line, because I'm making investments today that will pay dividends 20 years down the line. And I think we need to really begin to adjust our thinking about this. It's not just about looking good today. It's not about the gun show today. What it's about is my ability to have vitality and to still be able to live a quality of life that does not need to have canes or walker or insulin. Because I'm taking care of myself today, I'm making sure that I eliminate those problems on tomorrow. Right. Look, the reality is life is too short. But while I'm here, I'm going to make sure that I live my best life as long as I possibly can. I don't want my life to be cut short because I didn't do what I was supposed to do when I was younger.
You hit something so critical. A lot of people share your goal. They don't want to have sickness. They don't want to be a burden to people. They don't want to be crippled, but they don't do the necessarily things at this stage prior to that stage. Exactly. And so it is extremely important. What you're saying is that, no, let's take action now, today. Yeah. That best. Okay. Even if you're not going to go work out today, don't eat that fattened food that you were going to eat today. Taking steps, understand what food does to you. You wouldn't let anybody just come in your house and take your money and say, hey, I'm going to do something with it. So it's the same thing with your body. You're putting food in your body, which is how your body operates. It's your money, right? For your money, for your bills is the same as food for your body. It's something that has to function properly in order for you to have certain quality of life. And so we've got, and I was just trying to relate that. It could be anything, right? It's so important that you take your health and put that up there to the value, because let's think about it. The generations before us, you didn't see that necessarily. Don't get me wrong. Some people did it, but you didn't see that. Dad went to work. Dad, did all he needed to do to provide for the family, essentially. But there was a culture that we didn't come from in terms of, let's take this time out, the focus on fitness, the focus on taking care of your health. A lot of the people, in that age, or that previous generation, they had all kinds of issues, whether it was cancer, whether it was prostate, all those different things that happen that go unmanaged. Right. There's nothing that we do to counter those generational things, as well as those poor eating habits, because mama could cook some fried chicken, grandma could cook some fried chicken, and we consume that stuff because it was good. And in our culture, we grew up with those recipes that were tasting good but detrimental to the body.
Yeah, they weren't good for us.
Yeah, that's very good. Within that, Pastor Adams, he brings something to my attention. He said, so he wants to eat now, so it's a benefit for him later. He want to change better eating habits, and just so he can have a better quality of life. Now, you know what? I liken that too. I liken that into us making that investment.
Absolutely. That's where I was going next.
What are you willing to invest in yourself? So I'm willing to invest that, I'm going to make sure that I have healthy eating. I'm going to make better choices as well. So when I get into a different stage of my life, whether that's financially, whether that's socially, but more importantly, as I get older into my 70s, I want to make sure that I don't become a burden on others. Yeah. So by doing that, I invested in fortunately, if it started at 50, okay, fine. Still not late, but at least an investment was made. What did you invest in that time? I invested that, I came up with a workout routine. I invested that I'm going to leave these bad foods alone. And then when I said it, guys, I really appreciate this topic we're discussing. That does not mean that I'm never going to have a cheeseburger again. I mean, we want to be honest. That doesn't mean I'm never going to have sherbet again. It doesn't mean that. But what it does mean that I can't overindulge in those things, because I've had an investment in myself. My body is a temple. So that means that I'm not going to put all this stuff in it. And then when I become 60, 65, then the benefits of those things, bad benefits I'm speaking out, they start to maturate itself in poor health.
Absolutely.
And as we move to food, the food portion of it, everything what you guys are saying is definitely a foundation for an investment, because as we change our habits as men, our children start to change their habits as well, right? And sometimes men or the children influence us, right? Because they've learned some new information, some better information, and they've made changes, and we followed them. And so I think it's so important that you can change your meal patterns or your meal plans in your home. You know, if you're not responsible for cooking, you men as leaders, we need to set the example in the kitchen as well as we do in other areas of our lives that, you know, we want to be, I'm a man, I'm in charge. Well, guess what? You are in charge of the health of the family, you know, and I think part of food is an extremely important part of that. And so, and like fitness is so critical. Mirroring food, the right foods and the right nutritional plans with fitness is extremely critical, because as you talked about, Pastor Adam, in terms of after you work out and your body's, you know, your muscle mass and groups are breaking down or splitting to increase your muscle size. Well, you lose that if you don't follow up with the right proteins or the right amount of proteins and vegetables and fruits. And when you oversaturate your diet with sugars, all of that workout that you just did, you did it for nothing. It's you broke even for the day, if that. And the way things are so bad now, you can have a great workout, a whole week workout, and eat 3 candy bars and erase all of the calorie burns that you've had. You know,
one good chocolate chip cookie will kill it.
Want to do it?
It will do it.
But you know, we don't talk about this stuff. We don't educate ourselves on this level, because we think, you know, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna work out so I can eat what I want to eat. Well, maybe when you was 25 or 22, your metabolism is not that high now, right?
And here comes the other problem too, because one of the things that we do, and this is it's just a people thing. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or not, but I know it's a people thing. Is that, you know, we tell our young people in particular, well, go and eat what you want to eat. You're young. From a physical standpoint, okay, I get it. But from a habit development standpoint, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Because you develop an appetite for what you're fed.
Exactly.
And if you allow me to only eat junk, you tell me it's okay to eat junk because I'm young, whatever young means. Right. I developed this habit throughout my life of only eating a certain type of food. Well, I didn't know that fried chicken was so bad for me when I was 20 years old. But then when I turned 40 and she said, you got high cholesterol, well, wait a minute.
Right.
Now what you're telling me is I got to undo a 40-year habit.
Wow. That's real.
It's real.
Because mama said it was okay. Daddy said it was okay. The neighborhood said it was okay. And so we have to change our eating habits in order to actually reap the real benefits of the fitness habits.
Yeah.
Because you can't outwork a bad diet.
No, you can't.
You just simply can't. You can, one meal from McDonald's is 1,200 to 1,500 calories. You are rarely, if ever, burning that in a workout.
No,
that's right.
No,
right. They said that 1 pound is what equates to, was it 3,500 calories?
It's like 3,500 calories or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you have to work out for like 7 hours.
Right. So it's almost impossible to burn that many calories in one workout. You may be able to get to maybe 1,000 in a workout, but that's, you know how many hours that is? Right. Ask me how I know, because I've been there.
You know, and the other part of that as well is, well, who's got time for that?
Exactly.
And, you know what I mean? And who's got the energy for that? Working an 8-hour day or 10-hour day or 12-hour day, dealing with family and other responsibilities and things like that. And now you're telling me I got to go work out for 3 hours after all of this just to burn 600 calories? It's not worth it. As it relates to the food that we eat, the juice is not worth the squeeze. So we would do much better to plan our meals properly, you know, so that we're not caught in that crunch where we're sitting there saying, I'm hungry, what we gonna eat? And now what we gonna eat? Well, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening. There's nothing cooked. Let's hit the restaurant up.
Right. I think you always say what can happen or what will happen, or what can happen will happen, or something like
Can't
that.
go wrong, will go wrong.
Will go wrong. And it reminds me of that phrase when you say that all the time, because when we have these crunch time or something happens, you know, where we have to go places that were not on our regular schedule, and you don't have that meal plan exacted or in order, you essentially, you default to whatever is accessible, right?
Right.
And we don't always have that discipline to say, no, I'm gonna wait till I get home. Sometimes you're just out too long. And especially being in ministry and things of that nature, you know, things could happen where you go visit a hospital here, or, you know, someone's sick here, whatever, you're out. And so I think that, and not just ministry, but anything
Like for
that takes.
me, even in my vocation, my occupation, I'm in sales.
Yeah.
So I spent, you know, I've got 28 accounts that I go to visit on a weekly basis. I spend all my days in my car.
Right.
I generally speaking leave the house around 7 o'clock or so in the morning. I get back around whatever time in the late afternoon. But I'm going from one account to the next account, seeing and talking to people. And all of my accounts are actually grocery stores.
Right.
All of my accounts are Walmart's, Target's, Jewel Osco, Meijer, Mariano's. Okay, so you're in there with all of this food all day long, right? And it's very easy because you want to get through your work day. But let me just grab a bag of chips and just keep on rolling. Let me just grab a juice and just keep on rolling. You know, while you're sitting in your car all day as well, sitting sedentary in your car for most of the day too. So you really want to try and make it a point to have something prepared. You know, so I usually eat a little light breakfast before I leave in the morning, and I take some fruit with me to snack on during the day.
Right.
You know, or I'll grab me a salad or something like that and throw some chicken in there or something like that for my meals.
From a practical standpoint, that bottle of juice, it's like 300 calories right there. Depends on what you got. If you're talking about soda, even worse, right? But juice, that's 300 calories with the added sugar. And then the bag of chips is about 200 to 400 calories, depends on what you got.
That's it.
So just right there alone, you're looking at 500 to 800 calories just in a snack, right? We usually don't count those in terms of meals, right? And so
now think about that for a moment. That means then, if on my average workout, if I'm burning 400 to 500 calories in a workout, which is about where I am with my workouts, right? That means that it takes me 2 workouts to burn a bottle of juice and a bag of chips. Half of the workouts that I did in the week were over a 15-minute snack.
Right. If that.
You know, and if you do it every day, you're never going to catch up. This is why we say you can't outwork a bad diet.
Right.
You simply can't. So the best thing to do is to plan that stuff. And if you put it into a plan, and even in some way in our minds, we try to treat it as a reward or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we do. We tell ourselves that.
You know, but if we put it into the plan, if we're meal planning, and then we say, okay, Friday night, we're gonna do burgers and fries.
Right.
That's our Friday night reward. But in order to get to Friday night, from Monday through Friday afternoon, we got to do the right thing in order to earn the Friday night treat.
You know what else we have to do on top of that too? If I'm going to do burgers and fries, I can't do the same breakfast and lunch that I do on a regular basis either, because that's what we don't. So we're mathematical people, right? We're all analytical people here on this call. So when you think about it, you've got to put it in perspective. If I'm going to do burgers and fries, what you said is about 1,200 to 1,500 calories, right? Just off the bat. And that's just McDonald's. If you do a Portillo's or something else, you got the cheese and all the other extra stuff, you may be almost close to 1,800 calories, right? So, and don't get a milkshake. So my point is, doing that math, you know, you're losing that anyway, right? In terms of whatever you worked out to, you're treating yourself great. But if you still eat the same amount of calories that you do for breakfast and the same thing you do for lunch, that you just created a bigger deficit for you to kill. And it's one of those things where if you think about it in that perspective, it starts to make sense to say, wait a minute, no, I can't have this. Put it this way, it puts a pause and I'm just gonna eat this candy bar real quick. It's nothing, because you start to realize it does have a higher impact, and you're more conscious of its impact.
We've got a great comment, got a couple of great comments over here on on Facebook that I'd like to let you guys know about. One is that every adult told me, this is a young man, every adult told me, you're skinny and you need to eat more. And then always offered him unhealthy food. What that did was reset his diet habits, and have been a big thing for him, you know, in the past several months, trying to get his diet habits back in order. You know, but that's what happened with that. You know, and I think, somebody else said here, you also have to multiply the calories by how many servings per bag. I didn't even think about that.
Right.
The whole bag by itself.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true. I was thinking about what you could do, those little 25-cent bags that now cost 50 cents for less chips.
That depends on where you get them.
But yeah,
You know what? And just to the young man who commented on Facebook with people telling him that he was skinny and how he needed to eat. So you know what ends up happening with that, guys, is that now the body, what we feed it, that's what the body yearns for. Come on, y'all. So if I'm feeding my body potato chips, if I'm feeding it pizza, if I'm feeding it all these high calorie foods and all this fructose acid, then the body is gonna yearn for that. So it becomes a thing where we need to manipulate not only our body, but our mind, that we're not craving those things anymore. And so how do we suppress that? We suppress that by making better choices that we eat. So that means that you're eating more vegetable. We can have the fries, but also there's some things that we can do differently in how we cook our food.
how you prepare the fries. That's right.
Yes, we need to look at those things. Those are alternative options as well. But we need to make sure that the things that it just didn't come out of nowhere, where all of a sudden we wake up in the middle of the night and we're longing for a cheeseburger. It didn't come out of nowhere that we're longing for ice cream in the middle of the night, because those are the things that we fed our body for so many years. And the body is saying, now reward me.
And something else along with that, Minister Sidney, that we have to be cognizant of is that we have to go through a period of withdrawal.
That's where I was going to go. You hit it dead on. We can fast from things, you know, when we talk. So I think it really comes down to education. Because, okay, you're skinny. Oh, so diabetes is for fat people. No, it's such a misnomer, so wrong. No, diabetes is the process of what you just described. Because of that fructose and that sugar that you feed your body, it breaks that down on a regular basis to the point where it tricks or put it this way, the body no longer knows how to decipher how to create its own sugar in the blood. So essentially, you develop this whole process of an oversaturated imbalance, right? A chemical imbalance with the blood. And so now you develop diabetes, type 1, type 2, whatever. And anemic, you know, if you don't eat the right vegetables and you're eating sweets all the time, you could be skinny as you want to be, but then you become anemic. And then all of a sudden you have all kinds of immune system issues too, right? And so
Cascading effect.
Absolutely. Cascading effect. So I think education is a huge part of it, because we've been fed so many lies, or we've allowed ourselves to believe and not do the research ourselves, so many lies about, oh, you're going to be fine, you're young, or you know, just don't drink some water, you know, just drink some water and you're going to be good. No, there's benefits to drinking a lot of water, but you have to understand what these things do to your body. And I think what we're saying, overwhelming messages, don't just take food at face value or recipes at face value. Understand the impact of that food to your body every time you eat. Understand that impact. Take a conscious, more intentional approach to your health.
Absolutely. Yep. You know, and I think one of the things that we want to make sure that we're talking about as well, as it relates to men's health and those 5 pillars that we're going to be discussing, is we definitely have to begin to discuss the idea of how we handle our finances as a part of that health conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, as a part of that health conversation, because I think that oftentimes what we'll do if we're not careful is we'll try to put everything over. You know, we like to compartmentalize.
Yeah, we do.
No, let me put the health over here in this basket. Let me put the money in this basket. Let me put the family in this basket. Let me put Jesus over here in the corner.
Right.
This kind of stuff.
Over in the corner.
That's what we do. But the reality is that how we manage our money has a direct effect on how we manage our diets.
Yeah.
Because healthier food costs more.
Costs more.
That's right. That's right.
Eating healthy has a direct direct effect on the financial condition of your house.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
It's worth it. Like Minister Sidney and Pastor Adam said earlier, you're investing.
Right.
And you know why it's worth it? Because if you look at the investment and the profitability, because that's the only reason why we do investments, right? Is to have the return of investment, profit.
Yeah.
So now that costs me more to eat healthy, but the hospital bills are even more expensive.
More.
Hospital bills cost less now because you
right. And so, and to your point, Pastor, you said that if I'm down, then how much production can be produced, right? If everybody's dependent, everybody's wagon is hitched to me, how much deficit does that create in terms of a domino effect throughout all my dependents, right? And so, yes, it costs more to eat healthy, but at the same time, we don't really gauge how much it's costing us to eat poorly.
No,
right?
we don't count those dollars.
Right.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
we don't.
Absolutely, we don't. And there's something that the brothers don't know, and I'm going to divulge this now, since we're talking about men's health. There's something that I have called high uric acid, be better known as gout, and I suffer from that. So it's been under control now, but that's all a direct relation to your diet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about finance. So if you're having high uric acid and a bout where you have a flare up, that means that ain't no working.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You can't go work. Okay. So that means that, watch this, Pastor Adam, ain't no working out.
Right. I got you.
Oh, okay. The cascading effect now.
Yeah.
That means that now, come on, y'all, ain't no fun.
Yeah.
Because now those things have been robbed because of this illness. So that means that now that this is a direct result and it's directly affected my finances. Why? Because I cannot provide for my family now, because guess what? Now I'm going in, it's 2 weeks. I got a really bad bout now, hypothetically now. And guess what? All my PTO is up.
Right.
Can't afford, now you can't afford to miss work.
Right.
Now you can't afford to miss work. So now you're there, even if you can be lucky enough, and I said lucky enough, to hobble out of the bed.
Wow.
Now, how effective are you?
Right.
Now your finances have been directly impacted.
Right.
And that's all result of our bad, poor health choices through our bad diets that we've had, directly impacting our finances.
Directly impacted our finances.
You really centralize a point to Minister Sidney, is because we put so much effort in building a rapport, a reputation, a good work ethic. Everybody, can depend on us when we go to work, and we do our jobs well, and people depend on that behavior or those results. And to your point, if you don't have as much focus and attention and intentionality towards taking care of your person, taking care of this body, all of those things that we tend to overly lean to because it's the way we've been brought up.
Right.
Make sure you have a good name. Make sure you do a good. If you get a good job, you keep it, right? You do everything to keep it. All of those things that we lean towards in a heavy way, we wind up having all that reputation completely erased, because at the end of the day, the job wants results. They want performance. They need a body there. And so if you can't go, they don't, unless you own the place, and that has ramifications as well. No one's going to save that for you. Sometimes all of that good reputation, that good name that you've built up, is erased by a bad moment in time.
Awesome point.
And years, I've seen people get let go. They've worked the job 20 years, and then they go through some sickness or whatever, and they can't go. And some companies will be as tolerant as possible, but then others that, sorry, I can't. I gotta let you go.
Excellent point. And something else on finances too, guys. I don't want to hog the conversation, but this came to mind. So if we're working at a job and we want to make sure that our family is taken care of, that means that, hey, I want to make sure that I got proper life insurance. Come on, y'all. It's important. I want to make sure that, God forbid, something happened to me. Remember, we're the men. We want to make sure that our family is secure. Watch this, guys. But guess what happens, Pastor Adam, Pastor John, Minister Terrell? if we got poor health. It's going to be somewhere, they're going to give you the first 10,000. That's on the company. But if you want to go in and get additional,
Right. It's gonna cost you
guess
some
what
money.
ends up happening? They wanted you to go and get a exam.
Yeah,
Come on, y'all. Come on. I'm finna tie this together.
Yeah.
So when we go get an exam, that means that at some point, I've not seen any doctor exam where you taking where they don't draw blood. Come on now.
Right.
So when they draw blood and when they take a urine sample, there's some things that they're gonna detect.
Yeah.
And some things they're gonna detect, and that can be hypertension. It can be any other blood disease. It can be diabetes. It can be chronic disease. It can be liver disease. And so guess what happens? Now that extra insurance that you was trying to get because of your poor health choices and your poor health, you're now declined from those things. Or if you get those things, thank you, Pastor John, the premium is going to be out extraordinary. So there go again how our health can directly impact our finance, which can impact our family.
Can I make a suggestion real quick? That I think as men, that we have been taught or modeled that everybody else has to come first in terms of
Go ahead.
Everybody else has to come before us. But here's the reality. The reality is that if I'm not doing the things that I need to do to take care of me, to make sure that I'm in good health, to make sure that I can continue to provide for my family, if my job requires me to do that physically, if I'm not in the space to be able to do that, even in regards to mental health, then I'm a liability at the end of the day. What can I possibly offer? And so, brothers, listen real good. You have to make sure that you take care of you, because you are the only one that can take care of yourself. I know you got your wife and you got your family, you got your friends, you got everybody who's got your back. But hear me when I say, only you can take care of you. So do what you need to do. Take the time out that you need to take the time out, invest in yourself, make sure you are good so that you never get to the point where you're gonna have to go for a physical exam, as Minister Sidney was saying, and then the doctor says, well, you got this underlying medical condition, you got this, you got that, you got this, we're gonna have to prescribe this for you, we're gonna have to prescribe that for you. And so when the insurance company looks at you, you're too great of a risk to insure.
Come on.
That's right.
But all it takes is for you to say, today, I'm going to take care of me. So when I get to that space, when I get to that place, I'm good to go.
Right. There won't be any question about me.
Absolutely.
I am so tired of seeing my brothers and sisters die too young. I really am. Some of the stuff that's happening to us are preventable things, but they're only preventable if we're proactive and we're actually doing what we need to do in terms of taking care of ourselves.
The Bible says we perish for the lack of knowledge.
That's right.
So this is extremely important. I think we've taken that and we've thrown it in a bucket of education and higher learning, all those different things, but we're not talking about learning about ourselves, being educated about who we are, what impacts us. We've subscribed. So I'm not going to go all the way back, but think about, where did our diets come from in terms of America? Our diets came from
slavery.
What the say it again?
That's right.
Slavery.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then we come for some derivation from that, and a little bit higher, a little bit better. But the main soul food recipes that we subscribe to, slavery. Right? And what we do is we color and we say, hey, grandmama made something out of nothing, right? Daddy worked hard or whatever. And
that was fine for grandmama then, but we know better and can do better now.
We know better, we can do better. We have more control of what goes in our bodies. We have all of the control of what goes in our bodies.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important that to that whole point, the whole finance piece of it, and I think we're going to center a little bit more on finances now, is that the whole finance piece of it is, yes, it costs more to eat better. It just does. But maybe that's what we should have been subscribing to in the first place, because now we've used the same poverty mentality that we have with finances. with our eating. It's cheaper to buy this stuff. It's cheap, right? And so, and I got to feed 4, I got to feed 5, I got to feed all 6 of us. So what we've done is we budgeted poorly, and we budgeted to have subpar foods, right?
Sure.
Because
now we can talk about as well. We can talk about food deserts and things like that. However, it does not mean, there's a, and I don't want to get mad at no, I don't want anybody to get mad at me. Not right now, anyway.
Y'all.
But we don't lack for Jordans.
come on, now you're finna hit.
We don't like.
They mad. They about
You better
to
say that.
We don't like for Gucci. We don't like for Louis Vuitton. We don't like for Fendi, Prada, and Christian Louboutin. We don't like for none of that stuff. But all of a sudden, when it comes time to eating healthy, now we in a food desert.
Right.
We can't seem to find healthy food anywhere.
Right.
But we can find the highest fashion everywhere. Where they put the highest fashion stuff in our neighborhood. No, you seek that out.
Seek it out.
You know what I've also heard? That's one of the dumbest, I think the most, I'll put it this way, the most ignorant.
There you go, it's better.
Pass downs, I've already said dumb, right? Dub that. Is I don't like vegetables either, so I'm not gonna make my child eat vegetables.
Wow.
Let me show you something real quick. When we look at the COVID-related deaths, right? The vast majority of those that are dying from COVID are people that have pre-existing conditions.
That's excellent. I was going to mention it. Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
Yes,
it's people that were already struggling in one area
right.
that couldn't bear the weight of something else coming along.
Yeah.
From a financial sense, that's what most of us are too. Most of us are already struggling with pre-existing conditions financially. And then when something else comes along, we can't support the weight of that in our financial households. Well, our physical house is doing much the same thing now. Because we were already malnutritioned and malnourished and misnourished. I don't want to just say mal, but misnourished as well. That now that something else has come along, our bodies can't bear the weight of the something else that's coming along, and we're dying at rates that we should not be dying at.
Right.
That's a good point, Pastor. Excellent point. So when something comes along like what? Well, something comes along like $1,000 emergency. That we're
still living from check to check. So
that we can't cover from. So those things come on and they wipe families out. So now guess what else we do? Now we go deeper into debt. Why? Because now we're going to go to these places and we're going to go to these payday loans. And now we're going to add on even more debt because of those things. I did want to bag up just a little bit. Pastor John, you made a point about these deserts. And let's not take that lightly, because there aren't any, from growing up on the west side of Chicago, there aren't any Mariano's or any Whole Food in those areas. Don't get that twisted. But Pastor John made me think about something else. Well, ain't no Gucci, ain't no Balenciagos in our neighborhood either. Right. But we found a way to go out and get those things. Come on now. Louis Vuitton. There's no Louis Vuittons on Madison and Central. Come on. But we know where to go get it from. Yeah. So if that means that it goes back to our investment. When you know better, you do better. Yeah. Yes, we've been behind the 8 ball because of these systemic things. True. You should. Yes, but I do want to give a shout out. I know my mama from Mississippi, if you're looking at this, said, no, the first thing she said, baby, everything that we gave y'all wasn't bad.
No, not at all.
She mentioned greens. We need greens. Greens are good. Greens are good. So I want to throw that out there. There are some healthy benefits in soul food, but there are some things that are over aggressive that's really works in contrast to what the body actually yearns for. So I want to say that because
right now we don't want no problems with mama now.
But to your point, Pastor Minister Sidney, we had more of an exercise regimen back
That's
then.
true.
Yes.
We ran. We didn't have we weren't sitting behind no
sedentary back
then. And that's like no. We were running outside. We made up games to play. We couldn't wait to connect with one another. And
I got to get in.
You got to.
Thank you, Minister. I got to get in. You know what? I've been hoping for today? I've been hoping, like I did.
See a snowball fight outside.
Not a snowball fight, but I wish somebody would come with a shovel. Come on, y'all, some kids, and say, "Hey, sir, do you want to have your shovel?" That's what we did growing up.
That's how we made our money.
So we were getting out, and within that, there is a benefit in that when you're exercising. And I've been waiting. Nobody showed up.
Nobody showed up.
Wow, they all got all these stimulus packages. What I needed money for?
Listen,
got some PPP loans. What do I need?
But it goes back to not getting out doing anything. Why? Because we so succumb. Now I'm a person who play video games, so I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying, we become prisoners of that. We become so succumb to that. We're not the kids. They ain't trying to go out and shovel no snow and rake no leaves and cut no grass. What? I'm in a Madden tournament. Is you crazy?
I was mad this morning. Had to shovel snow. I was mad. I was mad.
Let's do another little part on that as well with the finance side of it, because one of the biggest killers, particularly of Black men, is hypertension, the silent killer.
Yes.
One of the contributors to hypertension is stress.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's stress. We're talking about men's health. So stress has to play a role in how we figure out how we're going to orient ourselves in a healthy manner. Minister Sidney talked about it earlier when he said sometimes you need to get back and find yourself a quiet place.
That's right.
You know, just to relax your mind a little bit and let some of the tension and things fall off as well. You know, the financial burdens and things like that. Getting your financial house in order is has a direct correlation with your physical health.
Yes.
It absolutely does. It's scientifically proven that a person who lives their life on a budget is healthier than the person that doesn't, regardless of the amount of money they make.
Wow. That's good. Wow.
If I make $40,000 a year, but I live on a $40,000 a year budget, I am healthier, more likely than not, than a person making $100,000 a year, but living on a $150,000 a year budget.
Right.
That's so powerful.
I'm going to be healthier than that person. So it's a direct correlation, though the stress factor cannot be glossed over in what that role that plays with how our bodies process things that come into our bodies.
So to your point, that's the conductor, right? That stress can take a simple meal or poor eating and escalate the health issues, especially if we've had some predisposed health issues. And so whether that's hereditary or just we've done it poorly. Something Pastor Adams said earlier, and I'm going to go a little farther. Men, if you have a vacation day, you can take a mental health vacation day.
Take it.
You do not have to take a vacation day because you got to go do something with Ray Ray, or you got to move somebody, or you're actually going out of town. It is okay to take that time for yourself. Yes. And what Pastor Adam and Pastor John taught me, don't let anybody else fill up your schedule when you have planned to take a day for yourself.
Yes.
That's right.
Let me just add to that real quick. And I'm probably gonna make some enemies, but I don't even care because I don't, y'all don't know where I live, so it's all good. But if you want to come find me, I'm with you. Look, we don't know how to say no to some things, Minister Terrell. When people ask us to do some things, watch this. Even if the wife may ask you to do something, you might have to say no.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Just for your own mental health. I am a strong proponent of taking a break because I know personally
Let me say this.
I don't take a break. Yes, sir.
They don't know that you broken until you break.
That's good word.
You've gone too far. You've gone too far with that thing. That's
on us though, right?
But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
We do this all the time with everything, finances to situations that happen in our kids' lives. We do, I got you. I'm going to put the puzzle back. I got the glue, got the crazy glue. We're always trying to fix something. And they don't know we're broken until we break.
Listen. Let me help you real quick with this. We as men need to understand what our limitations are.
That's right.
I know it's not a part of our little talking points, But we don't always understand what our limitations are. And because we don't understand what our limitations are, we go too far. And in our going too far, we break ourselves in order to please somebody else. But the reality is, I'm not going to be effective for you. I'm not going to be fruitful for you if I'm broken. Okay. So you need, as a man, to understand what your limitations are. If I understand what my limitation is, and I'm going to do this right here. I know that I cannot drive in the snow. I don't have the skills. I wasn't born in this area. Okay. I know that about me. That's a limitation. Okay. Why would I put myself in a position of driving in an area where the plows haven't hit it yet and the streets aren't safe? I'm beyond my skill capabilities.
That's it.
I'm going beyond my limitations. I know what my limitations are. My wife said to me this morning, she said, baby, you should probably stay home, just chill, tell Pastor John you're not going to be able to make it. No, I want to be a man. I want to try to get out there and do it myself. But my limitations, my skill set doesn't accommodate me driving in the snow.
Hey,
What you just said is we place high expectations. Go ahead.
Well, and think about this too, because when I got the text message from you and from Mr. Sidney, as a matter of fact, what did I say to both of those? Okay,
Be safe.
Be safe. Be safe. Because at the end of the day, you know, you get into a car accident, you over there in the ditch, and you can't go to work, can't pay for your family. Don't come calling me.
It's funny. I know he's being serious and it's facetious at the same time, but let's be realistic. You as a leader set the tone for the reprieve. You set the tone for them to have the mentality to know that you're going to be fine without their presence, because so many leaders and businesses or companies have these huge, we're connected to, that if there's a problem at home, we stress ourselves out, to your point earlier, to do everything we can to show up and to be there in our normal form. That we do, that stress level has such a impact on us physically. And then you as a leader, you set the tone to say, no, you've been found faithful over a few things. Today, it's okay. We're good.
We'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
You know what? Let me just kind of finish with the whole limitation idea. And that's the fact that, again, if I understand what my limitations are, my no to you is saying, look, I am acknowledging that I can't do everything. There are some things that I'm incapable of doing. Okay. And so I need you to respect and understand that. I think our families need to know that as husbands and as fathers. That, again, we might appear as Superman, but in reality, we're Clark Kent. We have limitations. Yes. And we should be able to live as human beings with limited ability. We are not God. We can do what we do. And I know sometimes we move heaven and earth to do what we do. But again, the reality is I have limitations. This will literally eliminate the stress in your life. It'll take the pressure off. Because you'll be able to acknowledge the fact that, okay, I can only do but so much.
That's right.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I didn't want to forget this. I know we're transitioning, but this is so important. I want to be able to bless somebody. Black men, one thing that we suffer from is not having routine physicals.
I was just about to go there. Go ahead.
Please make sure we're going to the doctor and that we're getting those routine physicals. So what that means? So what I came up with was that, you know what? I don't forget my birthday. Never.
That's it.
So I'm going to go around my birthday every year. And I'm going to go each and every year. So what does that mean? So that's going to be some women. Women, I'm asking for your help on this. That means that we're to push, we're to nag, whatever adjective you want to describe it to, but do that. Make sure you're pressing that man to get a physical. You know, well, baby, when the last time you had your physical? That's important. Why? Because it's a direct correlation in between how early you're detected from, meaning how curable it can become or how it can become death. Right. Prime example, colon cancer. It is 90% curable if caught soon. But what happens is that we don't go to the doctor. So when we go to the doctor, guess what? Got a bad report, and now we was in stage 3 and stage 4. A lot of times it's way too late. So I'm employing every man, every young man, tell your dad, tell your uncle, tell your cousin, tell your play cousin, tell your God, somebody, go get physicals every
I love the whole birthday
year.
thing. That's so good.
Every year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I used to go earlier in the year, but I moved mine to later in the year, so that I've met all my co-pays and all of that stuff. So by the time I go later in the year, it's free.
Yeah, got you.
There are certain tests that we as men need to make sure get ran as well.
Yeah.
And we have to advocate for ourselves in this particular case. I just want to run through a couple of them for us real quick. Cholesterol screening.
Yes.
Okay, cholesterol screening. Of course, blood pressure. Diabetes screening is another one that we need to look at. Specifically for Black men, vitamin D testing.
Oh, okay.
Vitamin D testing is something that we need to look at. Minister Sidney just talked about the colonoscopy and having that checked. Fecal occult blood tests and things that we need to be taking a look at. Skin cancer is a thing.
Yeah,
is a thing. Is one of those things that can kind of go either way. You know, of course, eye exams and vision screening and things like that. Hearing,
dental.
Going to the dentist. Absolutely.
Periodontal disease is so important and so real.
Very good point. That's right,
Having
Mr.
our
Terrell.
thyroids tested.
Yeah.
Having our thyroids tested is something as well that we need to look at. Testicular cancer is something we need to look at. The prostate. Sidney mentioned the colon. Don't confuse the colon with the prostate. That's a separate
different. That's different. Absolutely.
That's a separate thing. But these are tests that we need to be looking at getting ran for ourselves on a regular basis, because all of this stuff can be dealt with and addressed quickly.
Yeah.
And
Pastor John, don't lead it if you don't mind, because this is so important. Guys, I want to be as transparent as I possibly can. There is a misnomer that we have when we go get certain tests. That we don't want to get certain tests because of lack of a better word,
Invasive.
prodding process. Okay, I put it
right.
that way.
You're talking about the prostate.
Yeah,
Right, the prostate.
yeah. So guys, I don't know. I've heard it. I've heard my friends say they're not going because of that reason. But
Wow.
there's things that happen because it's called advanced medicine and advanced technology.
Yeah.
So we're not doing things the way we were doing 30 years ago.
Right.
So don't let that be the reason why you heard somebody in the barber shop, come on, y'all, said why they not getting a prostate exam. Because there's different, go ahead.
Different ways to do it. So here's what I would recommend to a man that is reluctant to get the exam because he's afraid of what they call the digital exam. The digital exam are the fingers.
Yes.
They're afraid of that. Okay, fine. Ask for a PSA test.
Come on, man.
P as in Peter, S as in Sam, A as in Apple, PSA test. That's a blood test. What that will do is that will just simply test the levels in your blood. That way they don't have to do the digital exam. They can test the levels in your blood to see what you are. Now, once they find out what those levels are, then they may say, okay, your levels are kind of high. Now we need to go a little further and take a look. Let me give you an idea of what the levels should look like. 0 to 4 is safe levels, okay? In theory, 4 to 10 are elevated levels, are highly elevated levels. If you get over 10, you got prostate cancer. Okay, so the numbers are 0 to 4, and they'll start looking because the best numbers are like 0 point whatever.
Right.
So when you start getting into the 2s and things like that, then they're going to say, okay, we're going to start monitoring your numbers a little bit because we want to keep you below 4.
Right.
Okay. Right. When you get into those 4s to 10, now we're going to start some real treatments and things because we see you're trending in the wrong direction fast. And then but if you're a 10 and above, that's prostate cancer.
What you just outlined, Pastor, in all of this is it's another investment. Getting these exams are another investment because down the line, as to Pastor Adams' point, this could be so detrimental to you and your lack of inquiry now can have, an elongated process. And to Pastor Minister Sidney's point, now all of a sudden when you finally go for, and unfortunately, too many of us discover health issues at the brink of near death, or at the brink of being sidelined for, what's going on. You have no idea what's going on with your body. So you have to go, or the ambulance is what's taking you to the hospital. I think, so what we're saying is invest in, these are investments, financial planning, meal planning, the fitness planning, all those different things. These are investments in yourself. You're spending your money anyway. How you spend it, right? You're spending your time anyway. How you spend it, and the quality of life you're already using it. How you have it is totally based on how you invest. And so I think it's important that we can't reiterate this enough. And this is not just a men issue. This is everybody that needs to get screened. But we're talking about men. And I think the two last topics that we're going to conclude with is just as important as the other three that we've talked about already.
I agree.
Faith and fun. Faith and fun.
Yeah.
You guys had an event. I had some pre-existing commitments. I couldn't even connect. I couldn't do it. And I hate that I couldn't do it. But talk to me about the fun that first of all, talk to me about your intentions of the what you implemented in terms of the men's group at the church. And then talk to me about the event that you plan, as well as before we conclude this session, that I want you to talk about some upcoming events as well. Minister Thurman.
Well, the intentions was to get out of the walls of the church. The intention was to show others that, guess what? Regardless of what you heard, church folk ain't all that snooty. We go out, we can have some fun as well. So that was the intention, to get out and show others that, we can have fun. Because there is a stigma on a bad stigma on the church that, they're Debbie Downers. They don't listen to no R&B, they don't listen to this, they don't go to concerts, and sometimes that becomes counter effective when we're trying to minister, because a lot of times there's preconceived notions about the church. So that was to simply just say, guess what, guys, we can get out and we can have fun. At the same time, we can still glorify God in that process. So that's what the intentions was, to go out and do. And that was important. It was important to see, because now there's other young men who are thinking about coming into the church. Come on, who are trying to reach and say that, you know what? Man, we went out and we had a great time. So now that sort of veil is kind of like torn, because now they see that, we can't go out and have fun. We can't go out and do whirly ball. We can't go out and have softball. We can't go out and have a pickup basketball game, whatever we decide to do. So we can go out and do those things. So that was the objective goal. But more importantly, it was to still glorify God and let people know that, guess what? Even though we're outside of the church, we are the church, regardless of wherever we find ourselves at, whether that's the grocery store, whether that's on work, whether that's even at the main event. We can still find ourselves ministering and giving God the glory. So that was my alternative, my goal to do, and what we're looking to do in upcoming events as well that we have scheduled.
What I love about what you're saying is that we always talk about faith without relationship doesn't work. And it's no different than rules without relationship doesn't work. And so building that relationship, no different than what Jesus did. He built relationships, and he showed the miracles. He from place to place throughout all of the area, he showed them the works. He built relationships, and people came to Christ. And I think for us to change from that mold or that model is probably the reason why the church is in the condition that it is today. We have ceased our desire to relate to one another outside of this four-wall thing. And, we have all these excuses, right? Legitimate and some legitimate excuses. And I think, so what you guys are doing, or what we're doing over here at New Covenant, is awesome. And I know that there's a lot of organizations that do this, church as well as just men's groups in general. But I think this is so important that you guys are bringing this, in the beginning of the year as a plight to solicit more men and to, encourage them. Go ahead.
Because there's another element to that as well, and it's the relationship element. Obviously our relationship with God, of course, we can glorify God anywhere. Obviously, to show a dying world that being a part of the church isn't such a negative thing, but also to create those relationships between men.
Right.
Because we need to be able to get together and hang out and have a good time with one another as well. It's funny, and I'm not going to say who, and don't nobody say nothing, but that night, it was a couple of brothers that was on them phones with them wives. And I don't know how to say nothing, but I had to go and say, what you doing?
Right.
Put that down. We here, but it's an underused muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to kind of kick back and relax with the brothers,
That's awesome.
one of the guys, I asked myself, I said, what you doing? He said, I was checking on my kids. I said, where they at? I'm thinking maybe they're at the babysitter. He said they're with their mom. What are you doing?
Oh no, I got to say it. I got to say it.
Oh,
This is awesome. Thank you, Pastor. Guess what happened when I got here? So
Okay.
I ain't hear from you.
All right, you didn't.
That's what she said. She said, you must have been having fun. She said, I didn't hear from you. So for you to mention that, absolutely. She said, yes. She said, I didn't hear from you. And I want to say, well, that's intention was that, you know what, I was going to block this time out and we were going to be, but you know what also that does, guys, I'm really enjoying this conversation. It also brings camaraderie.
Yeah.
So Minister Terrell, Pastor Adam, watch this. So guess what that means?
Uh-huh.
At the church, when our young men are suffering, whether it's from depression, whether it's from lack of self-esteem, guess what? Now they're more inclined, come on, y'all, to come to us, to be able to tell us what's on their heart. Because guess what? We built, come on, thank you, Pastor. We built a relationship. We got a camaraderie. So you know what? I do feel there's a trusting here now. You know what? I can't tell Pastor Adams, you know what, Pastor Adams, I'm going through some things right here. And all those things, that bond was forged through just an outing. Come on. Because now we're looking at them not just as bodies, not just trying to build up our account for church, but no, we care about people's soul. So now when people come in, now they're more inclined. We sing to say, give myself away. Now they can really give themselves away.
And you know what that opens up? Just like I said in the beginning, faith without relationship doesn't work. So think about it. Not only does that build a connection to to fellowship and things of that nature and spiritual growth. Now, health issues. Now talking to them about going get screening. Now, because not only we've shown an example, we've created a network where they're seeing other brothers do these different things at the right times and not waiting till we're dilapidated and messed up as individuals. And they also see, once as the relationship builds up, that level of vulnerability, and they can also tap into, we failed before, we made some mistakes. They may not have grown up with fathers, but now they have access to father figures. And if you think about some of the things that we're able to take advantage of, this is exactly how we came into growth, and maturity. And so to be able to provide that in a more conscious level, feeding, put it this way, we're not setting a mold for this is the person that comes to the church. This is the person that's, this is how they're supposed to be when they, connect with us. We're saying, come as you are. Right. Come as you are.
Well, the thing about it, and it's centered around having a good time.
Yes.
It's centered around having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go have some fun. And so, as older cats, I'm the youngest of the old men that were there, right? At 48. The cutoff age, I think we said, was 35.
Mm-hmm.
I think we made the cutoff age 35.
Yeah.
And it was broken up pretty evenly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the thought process, now at about 10:15, 10:30, all of us older cats, we was out of here. We was up. All right, we done. The younger cats, they still went and did laser tagging and had a good time, doing what they were doing. But us older ones like, look, man, this is way past my bedtime. But it was centered around having a good time, and you get to see each other in a light that you had not seen each other before.
Right.
Outside of it, oh man, this guy is a good. This guy do hang out and have a good time and laugh and joke and stuff like that. And then you even get to see personalities that are similar between the old and the young.
Yes.
When I looked at two of the brothers there, one from our age demographic, and then another one from the young demographic, you would think they were family. How similar they were.
Right.
I I'll tell you
We are, because we are family, right?
You know,
That's the whole point of it.
right, but you would think that they've been together and all of that kind of stuff because their personalities were so aligned.
Yeah.
It was just an interesting dynamic that we don't get to see inside the four walls.
Right.
But when we get outside of that and have a good time and just let's have some fun and let our hair down, you know, we get to enjoy, and that is also a benefit to us as it relates to our health.
Go ahead, talk about that.
Enjoy life.
Yeah.
If we're not gonna enjoy it, what's the purpose of living it?
Come on, man.
Yeah, you ran down some stats in pre-production about people, you know, who exercise that trait of having fun, right? Excellent ability to have fun. And I think you talked about in terms of how it impacts, you know, the longevity of a person's life, the stress levels, those whole things. We got to have that outlet. You got to have the outlet. And you know what's crazy is sometimes we find ourselves apologizing for taking time away from all those other things that we're so regimented to perform and to execute.
Yeah.
Let me run down. I ain't gonna give you stats, but I'll just give you some of the benefits real quick. Okay.
Sure.
I was able to find the 10 benefits of having fun: reduce stress, better quality sleep, increased activity, keeps you feeling youthful, improve social skills, can help to heal emotional wounds, better memory, enjoying having more energy, increased productivity, and improving your love life.
Wow.
That's just from having a good time. That's just from laughing every now and again. You know?
That's good.
I mean,
Hey,
I
Minister.
think, again, it's just so important that as men that we live, you know what, I think the model that we have been presented for those of us who grew up with fathers in the home, that they only presented one dimension, and that was the provider.
Yeah.
That was it. They went to work, they came home, they brought the money home, they brought the food home, and that was it. We never got to see dad really have fun. We never got to see dad really enjoy himself. And now we find ourselves in the midst of having to literally shift the paradigm from what it was to what it should be. And so that we can now present a proper model to our sons and to our children to show them the balance of life, that we're not just all work and no play, making us boring. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm one, and I said that when I turned 50, when I got to this second stage of my life, I was going to do things differently. Now, naturally, I'm an introvert, but I said, you know what? I'm going to go out, I'm going to travel, I'm going to see the world. I might be scared in the process, but I'm going to enjoy it.
I'm gonna go see it.
I'm going to see it. I'm going to say, and I think it's important that as men that we learn how to balance our lives. That we're not just about work and checking off our checklist and doing the honey-do list, but every now and again, we enjoy the life that we're working on. You know, I'm not going to work all these years, make all this money, and then not enjoy it. Man, no, not the kid,
right.
not the kid.
Right.
I got to have something to show for what I worked for.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And I think all of us need to have that in our lives, whether it's a hobby, whether it's, again, just going out, having fun with the boys, whatever that thing is, you let that outlet, get in that outlet and let out what's on the inside so that you can de-stress yourself. So when you come home, you're not kicking the cat and, you know, killing the dog. You know what I'm saying? You know, but you're actually enjoying your life, man.
I'll say one thing. I know Minister Thurman want to get in, but we said that on the list too, is men need to play.
Yes.
That's right. Good point. And two things that I really touched on, and I'm just by nature, I'm just observing person. I just see if I can soak up what I can. So I may not be saying anything, but I'm analyzing, but I'm watching things. And one thing that I took out of there's things that we desire just as human. One of them is touch. Come on now. I know we had in COVID, and when we practiced, we had on our masks, but men, whether it's giving a pound, which is what we were doing, whether it was hugging what we were doing, but something else. Watch this, guys, that I like it. Encouragement.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all.
That's good.
So what that meant that if somebody bowled and there was a strike, come on, y'all, true story.
Right.
Somebody was still there to say, okay, you got it the next time. Come on, y'all.
That's it.
It's black men. we get beat down so bad.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
We get beat down so bad. Guys, this is my favorite part of the night. Never said this to anybody. We get beat down so bad and we get stamped on, beat on so bad. Sometimes we just want to encourage you word.
Yeah.
So sometimes we may not hit it out of the park. Come on, y'all.
Right.
But the fact that somebody was there to give a pound, said, okay, this is that. One of the brothers came up to me. One of the older gentlemen came up to me. He said, and I know I can be tough exterior at times, but I'm a pussycat.
Mhm.
He looked at me. He said, hey, I don't really know about this. Come on, y'all. He said, can you tell me what do I do now? Come on, y'all. This was Friday night.
Wow.
I said, no, brother, this is what happens. If you not hit a strike, meaning where all the pins are down, you get a chance to go and, oh my goodness, and try again. Come on, y'all.
That's it. Go try again.
So we were able to encourage each other.
That's right.
While still being competitive, but we were still able to encourage each other. That was my best part of the night, guys. And as humans, that's what we need. We need physical touch, and we need it. I'm not talking about gratuitous encouragement. Come on, just saying it. But I'm talking about genuine encouragement. Hey, brother, you okay? Y'all know you'll be fine. You'll get it next time. And that goes a long way.
That goes a long way.
Yeah.
So powerful, so powerful. Men's fitness, food, fun, faith, and finance in an after church session where I think it's so important that we, to your point, encourage one another and have those outlets because we have these molds that we've tried to live up to for so long. And that stuff doesn't work. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are, what you do, but that regimen or that lifestyle that does not include these things that we talked about, fitness, proper eating, fun, faith, and finance, you're selling yourself short. You're not living to your fullest ability. And I think that God never desired that for us either. You know, he never desired that for us to be living a life of a stale life. He said that we would have life abundantly. And so just grateful for you guys. I think that we'll go ahead and get closing statements from everybody and we'll wrap this up. But this has really been a blessed conversation. And hey, it's our first one of the year. And it's important that we have fun. We do it on a different format, but yet it still continues to flow. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your input. I appreciate everything you guys done in the pre-production. And it just shows that, you know, we started this camaraderie ourselves, right? Amongst us. And connecting, and none of us have any long history with one another besides you guys being cousins. But you know, Pastor John and Minister Sidney. But just the connecting with one another, and the brief moments that we did, me and Pastor Adams were brothers from the first day. Me and Pastor John were brothers from texting, you know, and then Sidney, you know, first day. You know, it's one of those things. And to your point, we long to have those outlets, to have those relationships where we're not so judged and we're not held to this standard where we can't make a mistake, where we can't fail.
Right.
And we learn from each other.
You know, one of the things, and I know we're doing closing remarks now, one of the things that the Bible said that I just absolutely love, I absolutely adore, is where it says in 3 John chapter 1, verse 2, beloved, I pray that it may go well with you and that you will be in good health as it goes well with your soul.
Yeah.
Come on now.
The Bible, God, through his word, communicates the value of living healthy lives on all levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually. He wants us to live healthy lives. And he's given us the tools to do just that. Yeah. So my admonition, my encouragement to us as brothers is to take advantage of the things that God has given us so that we can live the abundant life that he said he wants us to live.
Yes.
Amen. Well said. Pastor Adam?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of what he said and just take a different road. And that is the fact that I think it's important that as men that we live balanced lives. I think a lot of our lives are lopsided, too heavy on one side, too light on the other. And we're just focused on what we're focused on, not realizing that it's a detriment to us in terms of how we live our lives. You know, we're workaholics, okay, but we don't take care of ourselves like we should. And some of us are working ourselves into an early grave. My brothers, listen real good. I want you to understand that you are worth the time that it takes to invest within yourself, because there is a return on investment in your investment today. Do what you got to do in terms of taking care of you. And again, I know we talked about the physical aspect of it, making sure that you eat right, that you get some physical exercise in there, even financially, making sure that you have the, get yourself a 401k, or find out a way to invest your monies now that will pay off later on. But I think one of the things that we maybe can talk about later on is our mental health as men. We need to take the time out to make sure that we are mentally and emotionally straight. And again, it's a whole nother topic for another session. But the reality is, I think that's something that we need to spend time developing within ourselves as men. So that when we're talking to our sons and we're talking to our daughters and we're dealing with our wives, we're coming from a wholesome place.
Yeah, it's great.
And we can offer a wholesome place to those that are with us. So again, I just want us to understand that it's important that we have and live a balanced life as men.
Pastor Adam, real quick, just before you go, Minister Sidney, I have this paperweight that I keep on my desk of a man who's balancing to remind me always to make sure that I'm maintaining a balance.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why I have this.
Yeah.
That's why I have this. It's a guy standing on one leg balancing these two balls.
Awesome.
Make sure that I always maintain balance.
Awesome.
It's really good.
That's good. That's good.
Yes, just in my closing arguments, I just want to say it doesn't so much matter how you started, but how you finish.
That's it.
Even if it means that you get you a buddy partner. I'm big on that, y'all. So what that means that I get me a buddy partner. That means that, hey, Minister Terrell, hey man, me and you, we're gonna attack this thing here. You know what that does? That now allows us each other to become accountable to each other. Come on now. Mm-hmm. So that means that now I've went into a covenant, come on, sort of to speak, with someone else. And that allows me to be able to hold him accountable. He can hold me accountable at the same time, trying to achieve one goal. And that one goal is that we be healthy and that we can stay on this earth as long as we possibly can. Those are my closing remarks.
Praise God. I wanted to talk about two things real quickly that we said that we were going to mention is life insurance. Man, purchase some life insurance. Educate yourself on life insurance. You don't want to be a health burden to people, but you also don't want to be a financial burden to people too when you leave this earth. Purchase some life insurance. And I think I forgot just reiterate, read your Bible daily. There's so many products out there. If you don't want to carry around the book that we call the Bible, there's an app on your phone, the Bible. You could download multiple apps on the phone. We really have no excuses. There's so many ways to consume the Word of God, but be intentional. Your workout plan is great. Your food planning is great, but your Bible study should just be as equivalent in terms of the frequency of those other, if not more so. Should be more so. Consuming the Word of God on Sundays is not enough. You need to have the Bible says faith comes by hearing the Word of God. And a lot of times we lack the courage to do the investing in ourselves because we don't have the faith to do so. And so how do you build up your faith? By consuming the Word of God.
Amen.
Got to do it. God bless you. God keep you. This has been an awesome session. You have been with my brother, Pastor John Thompson, Senior Pastor, New Covenant Full Gospel Church, my brother, Pastor Adam, my brother, Minister Sidney Thurman, and myself, Minister Terrell Kennedy. God bless you and may God keep you. Stay healthy.
God bless, guys.